Now I am going to discuss about the principles of scientific management. The term scientific management is the combination of two words, scientific and management. Scientific means systematic, analytical, objective approach, while management means getting things done to others. Simple words, scientific management means application of principles and methods of science in the field of management. You know, all the father of management, scientific management is F.W. Taylor. He says, scientific management is the art of knowing what you want man to do and then seeing that they do it in the best and cheapest way. That means it is an art of knowing exactly what is to be done and how it is to be done, whom it is to be done, and what is the best and cheapest way of doing the work. So scientific methods and techniques are applied in the field of management, recruitment, selection, training, placement of workers, and also methods of doing work in the best and cheapest way. Principles are science, not rule of thumb. Rule of thumb is a technique of pre-scientific management era. But Taylor maintained that the rule of thumb should be replaced by scientific knowledge. While rule of thumb emphasizes more estimation, scientific method denotes precision in determining any aspect of work. This should be done with the help of careful scientific investigation, exactness of various aspects of work like fair days work, standardization in work, differential piece rate for payment, etc. is the basic care of scientific management. So it is essential that there should be precisely and not on mere estimates. Secondly, harmony, not discord. Taylor emphasized that harmony rather than discord should be obtained in group action. Harmony means a group should work as a unit, contribute to the maximum. Within it, there should be a mutual give and take situation and proper understanding. Cooperation, not individualism. Scientific management requires that part of industrial body cooperate with each other. So scientific management depends on mutual confidence, cooperation, goodwill. It requires a complete mental revolution on the part of both workers and management. Taylor suggested substitution of war for peace, hearty and brotherly cooperation for contention and strike, replacement of suspicious watchfulness with mutual confidence, becoming friends instead of becoming enemies. Fourth principle is maximum output in place of restricted output. Scientific management emphasizes maximum output in place of restricted output. That means every possible effort is made to maximize production, such as scientific selection, training, development of workers, application of scientific methods in production, better working conditions, incentive wage plan, and above all, equitable distribution of gains of production, that is profit among workers and the employers. Fifth principle is development of man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. In order to maximize production, all possible efforts are made to increase the efficiency of workers. So workers are selected according to the nature of work. It includes scientific training, scientific allotment of work, implementation of incentive wage plan, and above all, development of workers to the fullest extent of themselves and also for the company's highest prosperity. So scientific management leads to the development of each worker to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. Secondary principles of scientific management: standardization of tools and equipment. This is a principle of standardized tools and elements used in production. It is essential for the improvement of quality of products and also for bringing about uniformity in the production of standard goods. As a matter of fact, standardization should be maintained in respect of tools, equipment, materials, period of work, working conditions, amount of work, cost of production. Now, scientific selection and training of workers. It requires a radical change in the selection and training of workers. They must be selected on scientific basis. The old and obsolete methods of selection of workers have to be replaced by scientific and modern methods. Taylor suggested that workers should be selected on scientific basis, taking into account their educational background, health, work experience, aptitude, physical health, and IQ. Further, proper training by qualified persons should be given according to their capabilities and nature of work. Experimentation and scientific investigation. The success of scientific management depends upon experimentation and investigation. It involves analytical study, observation, research, experimentation, and investigation. It is only through constant experimentation and scientific investigation that one can find the best and most efficient methods of doing a work. It has been rightly said that experimentation and investigation is the lifeblood of scientific management. So under scientific management, Taylor carried three types of experiments: time study, motion study, fatigue study. Now, incentive wage system. First time it was advocated incentive wage system in the form of differential piece wage instead of time wage. Under differential piece system, two wage rates are prescribed, the lower and the higher. Those who are unable to perform standard work within the standard time are paid lower rate of per unit. On the contrary, those who attain standard or even more within the standard time are paid wages at higher rate per unit. So there is a considerable difference in wages between those who attain and those who do not attain standards. Now, efficient costing system. Another important principle of scientific management is the efficient costing system. It is an essential element of scientific management. The management is interested in knowing the cost of production. Not only total cost, but also cost at every stage of production. Besides, it must see that there is no waste and proper cost control has been ensured. Now, scientific allotment of task. Another important principle of scientific management is scientific allotment of task. Every job must be entrusted to the best available man according to his aptitude and training for the specific job. As a matter of fact, every person, whosoever efficient he may be, cannot perform all the jobs efficiently. One has to carefully fit the man to the job and the job to the man. This principle is the right job to the right man. It should be implemented. So a worker performs his task most efficiently provided it suits his inclination, aptitude, taste, capability. Now, functional foremanship. Introduction of functional foremanship. That is, the task of supervision is divided into several specialized functions, and each function is entrusted to a functional foreman and functional boss. This scheme requires total 8 foremen and bosses, 4 planning aspect, 4 doing aspect. Those involved in planning aspect are route clerk, instruction clerk, time and cost clerk, disciplinarian. The persons involved in doing aspect of work are speed boss, inspector, repair boss, gang boss. So each one of them give an instruction to workers on different aspects concerning to them. Now, mental revolution is the last principle. The last important principle is mental revolution. That means fundamental and revolutionary change in the mental outlook of those who manage and those who are being between workers and employers. Thank you.